Tim, it's a great privilege to have you on our podcast series, one of our first series that we're broadcasting at IEL. And as you know, we've been communicating about this opportunity for the last couple of weeks. It's just a privilege for us at IEL to be able to talk about what you and your colleagues have been up to at Terra Alpha, a public equity company that has achieved a number of things from both a financial perspective and a sustainability perspective. Congratulations to you and your colleagues, genuinely.
Thank you. And thank you, Terry, for having me on the podcast. Really, it's a real privilege. Terra Alpha Investments is a public global equity asset manager, fund manager. We were founded in 2015, so this is our 10th year of operating as a firm, which is exciting. We are 100% dedicated to what we refer to as sustainable and impactful investing. And we do that based on our framework, our philosophy, I should say, for how we invest, which is to invest in public companies that are profitably leading the transition to a truly sustainable economy. In that phrase are two important things. We're looking for successful, growing companies that are profitable, as well as truly sustainable. To us means an economy that is operating in alignment with our natural resource systems, regenerative capacity, and serving the needs of society. So that's sort of our philosophical framework we use. Our outcome goals that we have beyond just is to have three levels of returns for our investors. One is competitive financial returns. Second is sustainable environmental returns, which we can come back to. And the third is very much alongside that real world impact through our corporate engagement and thought leadership work. We manage just under 200 million in assets across roughly 140 LPs in two strategies. We have a team of 10, primarily based in DC, and our team and our advisors kind of make up a combination of people who have high levels of environmental work experience or academic knowledge, as well as professional investors who have been investing for decades, in my case, going on 40 years. So to go back a little bit in history, before I started the investment business, I was a student at the College of William & Mary, and I was focusing on international relations and the Cold War. This is the 1980s, so the Cold War was very much a real thing before the wall had fallen and the Soviet Union collapsed. I also met this incredible woman who became my wife, who was a planetary geologist and was studying the surface of planets like Venus, which has a runaway greenhouse gas effect. So in my side of my ear all the time was this understanding of planetary systems, but not necessarily thinking about the interconnection. It was like, well, that's interesting, but what does that have to do with investing? That became increasingly, as knowledge and information about the impacts of climate change were becoming increasingly understood and modeled by science community. It was slowly creeping into my head, this understanding of the interconnections. And then the aha moment was really, I was at a conference and this guy named Al Gore gave a slideshow presentation called The Inconvenient Truth. And the penny dropped right then. Mm-hmm. And that's when I really started the transition of my recognition that I needed to think about the impacts and the abilities to assess the risks of those impacts in investing.
Let's get into that because, as you know, you and your colleagues went through an IAS process. You got an impact authenticity score and scored incredibly highly, Tim, both on your authenticity and your impact. And your impact ambitions are not low. They're described on your website as catalyzing more rapid positive change in our economy, as well as helping to build a more sustainable future for all. With $200 million in capital under management, Tim. These are ambitious goals. Tell me exactly how you and Terra Alpha are promoting those.
Yeah, I mean, they are big goals, but if you really look at and as you have, I'm sure, and many in your audience have looked at the realities of the health of our planet, we need to make some big changes if we're going to continue to have a planet that sustains life on it in a healthy, vibrant way. So those are what science leads us to recognize that we need to do. We strongly believe that it is in the long run best interest of any company operating in the world today that if they don't understand and don't have good data on how they're using and impacting natural resource systems, and they're not working to make themselves more efficient in their use and impact of natural resource systems, which are, we all know, being depleted at a rate that we can't sustain. So we're having excess supply or impact on those systems because the economy is growing, and we need to find a way to be more efficient with those systems that are crucial to both human life and our economy. So companies that are leading the effort to become more sustainable are, in our viewpoint, structurally better prepared to thrive in the future.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be more resilient, and they're going to be more successful. So we kind of take it as a fait accompli. If you are good at building a more efficient operating model around natural resources, you will generate better returns in the long run. But it's a long payback period. Putting up the money to do it up front is not going to pay back in the short term. And that's one of the bigger challenges we see companies facing, is that trade-off between short-termism and long-termism. I really valued the framework design that you created, and you also taught me some language that I hadn't really been thinking about in terms of how we're investing. And my favorite was the question about what is our counterfactual. And I think I've really kind of become around here. Everyone will say, I'd say counterfactual all the time now, because I really do value that point. It's like, what would have happened differently if we didn't exist? And I'm proud to say, I think that there are some significant things that we were part of helping cause that are different. And my goal is, to keep working to achieve our global goals. We're actually starting to see progress towards, over 40% of the companies in the portfolio have actually seen a reduction in their amount of greenhouse gas. Mm-hmm. So it is possible as they've grown their business. I think I want to emphasize that it is possible for us to achieve a more sustainable economy and natural resource systems. It takes work, it takes commitment, and it takes both companies to support those companies.
I did not expect Terra Alpha to come through our process as well as you did, Tim. I really didn't. I have been very skeptical about public equity funds. I am thrilled to eat my words, and thrilled that we're able to do this podcast, Tim, because I think there are a lot of people that claim to do what you do and don't do it.